Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a quick tutorial video for you guys just to clear up this thing with the feather example I showed. I actually looked at this a little bit more and I couldn't really find much of a difference in between. I have two versions of this here. In between where I did that inverse in the where that actually became the image went into the layer mask. I couldn't really find much difference in doing it this way versus just having an image with the layer mask. So let me just show you quickly these two methods. So let me delete this layer mask and I'll kind of start from scratch. So essentially all I have here is a white background and an image that I had already kind of clipped out of the girl. So all I have to do here is add a layer mask where everything's visible, or I'm sorry, actually I want to make everything invisible, everything hidden. You can do that two ways. You can go to image, let's see, layer mask, hide all, or you can go down here and hold Alt or Option on a Mac and click the layer mask button. You notice my layer mask is all black, that means everything is hidden. So now I have a brush selected and I've already have it set up, a feather brush with some spacing and random angles and sizes and that kind of stuff. And I'm going to paint white, which will reveal, and as I do that you'll see the image kind of start to appear here. Now if you wanted to add some feathers beyond what was your image here, you could just create another layer on top and then just add that however you wanted. Now this other method, the harder method, which I showed in class, I'll go ahead and redo that one as well. So I'll delete that layer. So again, we have a white background, we have the girl on top, and what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to select the girl, I'm going to go to channels, and I'm going to control click on a PC, command click on a Mac, hit the RGB. What that does is select the brights, the luminance value, the whiter colors. I'm going to go back to layers with that still selected. I'm going to create a new layer, and then I'm just going to hit create a layer mask, and it uses my selection and it essentially puts that image back into the layer mask. Now I can hide my original photo here, go back to my photo with the layer mask, put the photo inside. Now what I did on this is I actually inverted it. Image adjust, invert, and then make sure you click on the layer itself, which is blank, and I will paint black, and you'll see as you paint that image starts to appear. Now you'll notice this looks a lot like just using a layer mask. Now there's one advantage to doing it this way, which I noticed. If you wanted to, you could change the color. You could pretty much paint feathers in anything and it will come up within that shape. So you could use black and white feathers, you could have other kinds of feathers. So that is pretty much the only advantage that I would have been able to find in using that kind of more complicated method. Because over here, you'll see that all I can do is reveal that graphic that's below it with the mask. So there's no way for me to get red or white feathers painted on in that way. So just pick the method you like best and go with it. Okay, and my second example was that watercolor. Now I started off doing it a little bit harder, and I'm just going to show you the easy version here as a recap. So a couple things here. I have the photo on here twice. This top layer I'm actually going to bring the opacity down to about 10% because I just want a faint outline to kind of know where I should paint. And then here is just the photo, and all I did is have a layer mask that hides everything. If I started that over, all I'd have to do is hit Alt and add layer mask down here, and it hides everything. So what I want to do is use some of the brushes and paint back this image here. So I'm going to use the brush, and I think the key is those watercolor brushes, that if you want that look that I have in the week 9, there's a link there that allows you to get those if you want, but all these watercolor brushes kind of do the same thing. And so what you want to do is select that mask and paint in white. And what you get is essentially you can slowly build up that paint. Now when you do this, you really want to, if you want it to look good, you're going to have to take some time and use different brushes and figure out what brushes you like the most. And what I'm doing is just really gradually building up the paint, and what this can do is give me, kind of make it look like it was actually painted. Now this one kind of has a brush lines almost to it. Like if you kind of did that all in the same angle, you could kind of start to get. Actually, I just realized I'm painting in gray. That's one thing you could do. If you paint in levels of gray, you will actually not, like if you paint in white, it brings it back almost fully here. But if you did paint in a level of gray, it would actually not be, it'd be kind of a lighter version. So you essentially just build it up. You could paint in white. The thing about these brushes is they're kind of partial opacity, so as you paint, it doesn't give you the complete reveal. It's just kind of partial. If you look at the mask, you can see it's kind of gray rather than white. You could also change the flow up here if you wanted it to be more gradual. If you did 50%, you pretty much have to kind of go over it more and more as you build that up. But what you'll end up with is a lot of your middle of the picture will be filled in for the most part. You might kind of layer it just a bit to get, you can see some scratches and stuff in there which look nice. But I think the key to making these look good is what you end up with on the edges along the outside, because that kind of makes it look like it's a painting. So, but that's the basic technique there. And then when you're done, hide that top layer and you'll get just the painting. That top layer just is kind of as a guideline. So